Hello, everybody. This is Dr. McGuire back again from Higher Education Assist. Hope all is well. Today, we're continuing our series of Find My Path. Our special guest today, Greg Farnese, has an awesome path, I think. And I've received many, many requests and conversations that I engaged in over the several past week regarding sports. Everybody loves sports. So I hope you enjoy this interview. Greg, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Tom. I'm happy to be here. You look great, man.
Yes. We'll tell everybody we had a few technical difficulties the other day, but we are refreshed and ready to go. So you are a camera operator for NBC Sports Philly, correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. And I'm sure you have some good days, some bad days, but let's dive right into it. What does a day look like for you? Pick a sport and just walk us through that whole sports world.
Okay. Well, I mean, the last few months, their days have been pretty bleak. As you know, there's no sports happening right now when we're recording this, but in a couple of weeks, the Sixers will be starting. But I do the Flyers, the Sixers, and the Phillies. They're all broadcast on NBC Sports Philadelphia, and they all present different technical challenges, not just from a camera operator standpoint, but from every production position. But for baseball, for example, our day will start on the first day of a homestand. Baseball, unlike hockey and basketball, there's a home series. So there's a succession of games, home games that would maybe last 5 or 6 days to sometimes 12 days. So we'll arrive on the first day of that homestand, and we'll all report to a remote truck that's parked right behind the right field foul pole at Citizens Bank Ballpark. And then we'll start pulling all the gear out and start putting it in its spots that it needs to be, whether it's cameras or microphones, out on the field. And inside the truck, the technical director, the videotape operators, the video shaders, they're all setting up their machines to get ready for that evening's broadcast. And that's pretty much the setup. We get there about 1 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game on a setup. It is really early. And whenever I mention that to somebody, they're like, wow, hey, we got to be there so early. Well, it buys you time. If something goes wrong, it gives you time to fix any kind of technical glitch or any kind of problem, because at 7 o'clock p.m. that night on NBC Sports Philadelphia, the Delaware Valley is expecting to see the Phillies game. So we have to make sure that everything is working.
Right. How many people typically are on a crew for from a technical production perspective at a, say, Major League Baseball game?
There's probably about 35 to 40 on the crew, including camera operators, statisticians, graphic operators, video operators, audio technicians, director, producer. Then there's the engineers that work on the truck in case something goes wrong, they can fix it quickly. So I'd say about 35 to 40 people.
So there's a lot that goes on more than we see as a viewer, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's, our job is to tell a story through pictures. And we have to kind of pay attention and know what's going on, not only on the field, but outside the baselines. So, we have to kind of be in tune with the team and what's happening, so that the Delaware Valley, when they're watching the game, can get like a fresh, up-to-date look as to what's happening.
Right. So you do many sports other than the Phillies.
I do the Phillies, the Flyers, and the 76ers.
Wow.
A few years ago, this is my 26th season doing it. I would freelance and do other sports, like college basketball or Eagles games, college football. But that's kind of slowed down on my end because I'm also a musician, and I've dedicated my time to be a jazz singer here in Philadelphia. So that's kind of pulled me away from other camera freelance work, which, actually right now I kind of prefer that.
Okay. Walk us through. That's very exciting because you're diversifying in different things, right?
Yes.
Your passions as well. So what game, what experience can you remember that was like a wow, aha moment when doing a sports game? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I remember coming back that first game after 9/11, doing the Phillies game. They were playing the Braves, and we had been, I think Major League Baseball took a week off, and we were one of the very first games back after 9/11, and it was a sold out crowd, a lot of tears, a lot of national pride, and not just tears from the players, people in the crowd. It was just a very emotional game. The Phillies won 4-1. I remember that. Scott Rowland hit 2 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
That was one game that really comes to mind. Another game I did. I was doing a Flyers playoff game, and Eric Lindros got checked so incredibly hard by Scott Stevens at the blue line, and knocked him out of the game. That was something that was very startling.
Let me ask you this: so when you make when they go to the playoffs and you are operating that camera, does the level of intensity for you internally, emotionally, however you want to coin it, rev up a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the things that I really miss. We did the Phillies this past season in July without crowd. At Citizens Bank Park, it was an empty stadium, but we still broadcast the game for people at home. But I didn't realize how much along with the rest of the crew members, kind of fed off the crowd. That energy in the ballpark is something that was always there, but you didn't really quite realize. At least me personally, how important that was to what we're doing.
Right.
And whenever the playoffs start, that intensity in the crowd, you can feel it. The importance of the game, the director and the producer are, we're all ramped up, so yeah, it is. It gets much more exciting, doing a World Series game than it does like a game in May or June, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you see the picture of you?
Yes, I do.
All right,
Smiling.
Good. Everybody. So this is Greg at a,
that was the Flyers Wives Fight for Lives Carnival at Wells Fargo Center a couple of years ago.
Okay, let me zoom in here. We can see how happy he is.
Yeah, I got one hand on the camera. Anybody who wants to be a camera operator, both hands on the camera.
Yeah.
We were probably in a commercial break during that.
Okay. And then we have, here's your actual camera, right?
Actually, that was this past year when our first game back during the pandemic, when the Phillies were playing, I think, the Florida Marlins, I believe. Yeah, okay. That was a picture of my camera right before, after it was set up in left field. I do the left center field camera for Phillies.
Yeah.
Section 143, right in front of Harry the K's at Citizens Bank Park. So
we know where to find you.
Back and fans will have to come back into the stadium, come by and say hello.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. You ready?
Uh-oh.
Bam.
Oh.
Yes. Wow. Let's talk about that.
Wow. It even looks nice in a picture.
It does, right?
Yeah. That is an Emmy that I had won back in 2011, working for Fox Sports, doing postseason baseball. And it was a national Emmy, which is something I'm very proud of.
That is awesome.
I work with so many people that have those statues. I'm surrounded by some incredibly talented television technicians in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is known throughout the league in all the sports as one of the top places for production teams to go and broadcast the games. There's a lot of talented technicians in Philadelphia, that's for sure.
Okay. All right. So let's segue into this topic. Again, a lot of young adults, high school, early, then soon after, post high school, a year or two, they get their juices going. What advice would you have for them, really in any field, but since we're talking about sports in general, what advice would you give to them, or a conversation if you were talking to somebody?
Well, I would say that it'd be a good start to love sports. I mean, that's not everybody loves sports. The majority of people love sports, but not everybody loves sports. So I think having a love for sports is a good start. My advice really right now in today, 2020 or 2021, is I would start um, investigating and looking into how our industry is changing and where it's heading. It's a lot different now than it was when I first started, and that was 26 years ago, which is not a very long time, but a lot of things have changed. The technology has changed, and a lot of us had to adapt to that. Me, not so much as a camera operator, but other positions. So I would say to any young high school student to investigate that and try to find maybe something that is interesting to you in that arena, whether it's photography or sounds or audio or graphic art, or directing or producing. I would learn all the different pieces and all the different positions that are involved with a live sports broadcast, and see if any of those things are interesting to you. And then
right,
the next step after that would be, to get your hands on the tools to see whether you like it. Whether it's camera or audio. I would just kind of try to get my hands on gear and equipment to see whether you like it and whether you're have the talent for it.
Well, let me ask you this. So, in terms of internships, getting your rolling up your sleeve, getting your hands muddy, right? Getting experience. It's easy to go apply, right, online, which is really, awful these days because you're just a number, in my opinion. But what would you suggest? How does one get experience?
I know that is a great question, Tom.
Yeah.
And in our field, in our business, it's I always say this, but I know there's a long line of people behind me waiting for me to die. To be perfectly honest. I mean, they're waiting for me to say, you know what, I don't feel like doing this anymore, and then boom, somebody will pop right into that position and grab my camera. Very, very competitive industry, and very difficult to get into, I have to say. And there's all different ways, not just in television production or sports production, a lot of different ways to get into an industry. It's there's many ways to skin a cat, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say probably starting out in like a high school sports event or a college sports event, to start doing those games. If you can connect with a high school or a college, or somebody who's in that television and radio department of those colleges or universities, try to work your way in there and start to do everything and say yes to everything, whether it's grabbing coffee and bringing it to the director, or whether it's pulling cable or running camera, whatever. Just immerse yourself into the whole environment of it. Again, to see whether you like it. I mean, it's not as glamorous as people think. I mean, the first question young people ask me is, "Oh, do you know Chase Utley?" It's like, no, I don't know Chase Utley. I mean, there's a line there. There's the players, and then there's the production team. It's a sometimes a very grueling job. I mean, it's not sometimes what people think it is. It's not very glamorous.
Yeah, and you hear folks within an organization who started out selling concessions, right? Ticket sales, so on and so forth, and through networking, kind of to your point, the more you network, you increase your chances of hopefully getting to that next level.
That's true. An internship is a great way too. And our producers, for each of the sports are the ones that are fielded all of these intern requests. And I got to tell you, Tom, the list is really long. Mm-hmm. And of all the interns that we've had, I think every single intern has an opportunity to look and see what everybody does.
Oh, cool.
So they have it, what camera might be something I'm interested, or, being a technical director is something I'm really, kind of attracted to. So getting an internship is, that is gold in our industry. And knowing somebody that does it, you have to really have a passion for it. And it's just really, really difficult. I mean, the way I got into the business was through my father, who was in television production and was really well respected here in Philadelphia television community. So nepotism is how I got in. But I always kind of had an ear for it and an eye for it. And you have to be really good at sports television because it's live. And there's really not much room for error. I mean, I was given an opportunity and I'm so grateful for that. But if I wasn't able to perform at the level that our broadcasts need to be, I wouldn't be doing it, So,
well, let's talk about that real quick. So what would be one situation, maybe you have never been in that situation, but when things didn't go right, things went wrong, and you or somebody else on your team had to, act quickly, figure it out. What are some of the things that go through a production, a sports production like that we don't see?
Yeah, well, I mean, everything is live and everything is happening very quickly. And people at home, all they really do is they see the pictures and they hear our announcers. But behind that curtain, there are so many people talking at one time. The director is talking to all the technical people. The producer is talking to the videotape operators. It's a constant communication going throughout the whole game. Even for baseball, you sit back, you're watching it, it's kind of like laid back. But behind the scenes, there's so many decisions being made, so many things that we maybe re-recorded before the game that we wanted to play back, or stories that are happening. So it's a very quick environment, very fast, and you have to think very quickly and pay attention. Mm-hmm. So I guess one of the things that would happen from a camera operator is, whenever your camera's on the air, the director, my camera for baseball is camera 6. So if I have a shot of, let me think, like Bryce Harper in right field, and the director likes my shot, he'll say, ready 6, take 6. And then a red light comes on and I'm on the air. If I don't hear him say ready 6 and I'm watching something else, or, I'm thinking about something else, and I don't hear ready 6, take 6, I might turn my camera to shoot something else while we're on the air. And that doesn't look good.
Right. Yeah. So let me ask you that. So
swing over. So that would be one example of paying attention, and how not paying attention can be just devastating to a broadcast.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about camera 6. You're out there. What is in that situation? We'll stick with baseball and give me one other sports example thereafter. But for baseball, you operating that camera, what are you responsible for in terms of capturing as that camera 6?
That's a shame because I have video on my computer. It's a shame. I should have maybe called up some of that. But my job for Phillies is my camera is called the left center field power alley camera. And my job is to follow the ball. It's a shag camera. So
what does that mean?
Means shagging means follow the ball, like shag it, like wherever the ball goes, I have to find it.
Wow.
Close, close up. So the pitcher has the ball, and the pitcher is about to throw the ball to the batter. My framing at that point is the batter at home plate, head to toe. Okay, and once the ball is hit, wherever that ball goes, I follow it. Now, I'm not live. Now, people at home, when that's all going on, people at home are watching the center field camera, which is camera 4, which is shooting the pitcher, batter, catcher, umpire from center field. That's the one that's live. And then when the batter hits the ball, they go to another camera, which is up behind home plate, that follows the ball out to the field, all live that people at home see. But what I'm doing is being recorded by videotape operators inside the truck, recording it. So when the play is over and they want to take a look at it and see the replay, they'll go to a recording of what I was shooting. Like, let's take another look at that. And they'll show my angle, and they'll show all these other angles from all the other cameras.
So really quick moving, right? Fast pace.
Very fast. And my camera also, it's all about storytelling. So we
Yeah.
all have to listen to the announcers, to what they're talking about. So, if Tom McCarthy says, manager Joe Girardi is thinking about starting, Aaron Nola tomorrow, I'm going to go and shoot, either Aaron Nola or the manager, because that's what Tom's talking about. And the people at home are kind of following along.
Mm-hmm.
So we're telling a story through with pictures pretty much.
Right. All right. Give me one more sports. One more.
For hockey, for
hockey, yeah.
Hockey, I shoot that camera 2, which is called tight follow, and I follow the puck very closely. And I used a camera called a super slow motion camera. It's a high speed camera, and what that means is there's more frames per second that the camera is shooting the puck in. Or I'm shooting the puck. The camera's not. The camera is, but I'm operating the camera. So when they show that replay, it's really slow. You ever see a super slow-mo replay? It's super slow. So for hockey, my job is to follow that puck as the game is going on. Again, I'm head to toe with the player. And when the puck is shot, I kind of zoom in on the puck really close. Very challenging. Camera.
I'm not going to say which sport you prefer to shoot, but what sport is the most challenging to you?
Hockey, without a doubt. Hockey is the most challenging. For my camera position, camera 2, tight follow, is a very challenging position, simply because I'm not only following the puck, but I'm also picking off players and, finding players on the bench. They have a helmet on, so it's really kind of hard to see them. It's not like baseball, which is like they're in their position. You can kind of find them quicker. Get me the catcher, boom. Get me Claude Giroux. Is he on the ice? Is he on the bench? What part of the bench is he on? And we only have 10 seconds to find him, because there isn't much time between face-offs. If you watch a hockey game, the whistle blows, 10 seconds later, they're facing off. So we have to try to tell a story in 10 seconds, of a player that made a great play, or, getting a replay in. So it's like that.
Right. A lot faster than baseball.
It's over like that too. It goes very quick because you're focused. You got to focus on you have to really, really focus when you're doing a hockey game, because it's so fast.
Right. And I guess the other responsibility is that when it comes time for a replay, what you capture could be, a make or break, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to, we all make mistakes. You don't get every single shot. Your goal is to get every single shot. And the producer, and also the tape operators, the ones recording the camera, if they see that there's a problem, or that a camera operator didn't follow it all the way, or somebody blocked it, you didn't see it, they're not going to play it back. They'll just tell the producer, hey, what Greg shot doesn't work. Go to another camera, so it's a constant communication going on during the game to make sure that you can see every angle for the viewer at home.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a crazy one of the last few questions. So
Crazy.
I guess, well, a lot of people, and they're at the games. Let's just say the Phillies are walking by. Hey, there's Greg. Let me say hi. Right? Do you get interrupted a lot?
For baseball, I do, because I am amongst the crowd. Well,
yeah. Is that frustrating?
What's that?
Is that frustrating? Because you have your okay.
No.
Okay.
For baseball, it isn't, because it's a slower pace. So the pitch is thrown, ball 1. Hey, you get a tap on the shoulder. Hey, Tom, how are you? Good to see you. Hang on 1 second. So you have time, to say hello.
Okay.
I love when people come by and say hi. I really do. I can't take my headset off and have a conversation with that person, obviously, because I have a job to do. But no, I don't mind that at all. I mean, for hockey, somebody taps you on the shoulder, I can't turn around. No, I just can't even look. I mean, I'm just so focused on the game, the players, what's going on. If there's a commercial break, I can turn around and look and see who it is. But if you tap me on the shoulder while I'm shooting a hockey game, I'm not going to turn around and look at you. I just can't, because it's, you're so involved. At least I'm so involved with what I'm doing.
Right. All right, just a few more questions, and I'll let you go.
Absolutely. I have all the time in the world. You fire away.
So I keep going back to the Phillies, but so you do all the home games. You don't travel, correct?
That's correct. I do all the home games. And, again, sometimes I'll freelance and do other games, other network games, in other cities. And
Okay.
for hockey as well, like I'll travel for NBC doing, a Rangers Blackhawks game in Chicago or whatever.
Okay.
My priority and my first number one priority is working for NBC Sports Philadelphia, which I really love working for that company. It's a wonderful company with great people. And yeah.
Okay. And there's about 90 home games for the Phillies?
There's 81 home games for
81.
Phillies, and for Flyers there's 40 games, and for Sixers there's 40 games.
Wow.
So it's like 160 dates. So with freelancing and whatnot, I work 180 to 200 dates a year. So yeah, but lately it's the seasons are shortened now because of the pandemic. So the basketball is starting December 23rd, 76ers. And I think they're going to have a kind of a short season, and hockey's going to start the middle of January, and also have a shorter season as well. But we like
you're busy.
More
you're a busy guy. You're a busy guy. So
well, I'm going to be. I haven't been the last few months. I mean, I've been singing and performing, every once in a while, in very safe and socially distanced environments. But as far as sports television, I'm looking forward to getting back next week doing the Sixers. I really am.
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah. So next question. Who, if anybody, and I ask this all the time, who would you say is an influence or has been an influence to you, maybe growing up or now? It could be, political, it could be sports, it could be personal, it could be family. Who's well-rounded to you?
Wow. I've been blessed with so many people in front of the camera and behind the camera. I have to say my dad.
Awesome.
My father. And my father started in this business in the mid-'60s. He had his own television show on Channel 48, which was on UHF. And anybody who was born after 1970 probably has no idea what UHF stands for. It was called Dickory Dock. And I kind of grew up around television. And my father was a local celebrity here in Philadelphia for quite a while, and then transitioned from in front of the camera to behind the scenes. Very much like myself, I kind of followed in his footsteps. I started in front of the camera as a performer, and now I work behind the scenes. So I would say my dad was a big influence on me. I used to watch him. Very creative man. He was an accomplished artist and singer, and yeah, I'd say
that's nice.
Most influence, and that's one of my only regrets is he died 1994. He never really got a chance to see me in this role as a camera operator, because he was one too.
Right.
So
well, he's watching you, buddy. He's watching you.
Oh, I know.
No doubt.
I know he is, and I really do miss him. So
that's great to have your father.
I would say my dad.
Your dad. Yeah, that's great. That's great. What I forgot to ask you is, a college degree required for not only what you do, but in general, if one heads towards the sports?
Yeah.
Okay.
And not just, that's with every industry really anymore, it seems like. I mean, it's really, I'm not saying that you can't make a living without a college degree, but it'll never hurt you, not to have a college degree. It'll never keep you from getting a job. But in our industry, the majority of people that work in our field have gotten a degree in radio, television, film from a university. Me personally, I dropped out of college and promised my parents that I would go back and get my degree, which I didn't do until 25 years later, which I don't recommend doing that. I recommend just going to college right after high school and getting your degree in 4 years. It took me 10 years to get my degree, but it's something that I really wanted. I wanted to have a bachelor's in fine arts. And when my son, who's now a junior at Cornell University, when he was in second grade, I figured out if I took 6 credits a semester for the next 10 years, I'll have enough credits to get my degree. and beat him before he graduates high school. So I beat him by like 8 weeks or something like that.
That's awesome. But no, seriously, you should be
So
proud
I got
of your
degree in film, in motion picture and television from the Academy of Art University. But I did that mostly because it's something that I wanted to do for me personally. But I did learn an awful lot about our industry in that 10-year college education.
Sure, but looking back at the time, you probably could have got away with not graduating, I'm sure, right? Since you were in the field.
I mean, like I said, if it wasn't for my father, I don't think I even would be, doing what I'm doing. I mean, he opened up so many doors and was so well respected and loved. And the people that he worked with opened their arms to me and gave me an opportunity. But I don't think I would. I don't think even without a degree, probably not.
Right.
It's just like I say, internships come from people that are students that are going to school, and from the people that have been on our crew over the last 10 years, have either had an internship or have graduated from college in radio and film. Like Temple University is a great university for television and film and radio. And a lot of
there is value for going to college just for that reason.
Universities too. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So there is that extra value in going to college just for the opportunity to possibly obtain those internships.
Yeah, and even if you have a college degree, that means that you've had your hands on the gear. You've actually done production, so that that's what you want to do, or that you have a certain skill that you're good at. So yeah, I mean, it's a doable kind of art. You can read so many books about television production, but until you get your hands on the actual equipment and do it, that's really when you learn.
Yeah. And not that you need it, but I do applaud you and I do give you credit because, for the duration of time it took you to go back and, having a family and so on and so forth.
It was tough.
It not being a priority, although a goal. I mean, I do give you credit, but that says something about you, in my opinion, of how well-rounded and dedicated and passionate you are about what you do. Right.
Well, thank you, Tom. Yes, I really do appreciate that. I'm a very passionate person. If I go into a project, I go in full force. I don't dip my toe into anything really. Sometimes to a fault. But yeah, I mean, I just always felt, I was always surrounded by people that I work with that all have their degrees, and I was always kind of ashamed of that,
Right.
So that was the other thing too. I just wanted to do it really for me. And, and my wife is so supportive and helped me so much over the years getting my degree, as my son did, because it was a film degree. So I had to do a lot of short films and, and of course my wife and my son were like actors in a lot of the short films that I directed. And even our dog, used my dog a few times. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate you saying that because it was an arduous undertaking, to say the least.
Right.
And
right.
I was working full time. I had a family, a wife, a music career. So it got really, really intense, but I got my degree. I'm a Bachelor of Fine Arts graduate. So.
No, that's great. That's great. Well, Greg, listen, I hope a lot of folks view this and can really get a handle on your perspective and how you did certain things throughout the years and the success you had.
I wish I could give more. I mean, I wish I can give like a roadmap, or like I wish I can give a list of things to do, to get into our field. But it just doesn't work that way. It's so funny. Different ways of getting into our field. So many different doors to have to open, and but it's a people business like any other business. And if you ever go to a ball game and you see me, and you have interest in this sport, come up and say hello to me. And,
awesome.
I'll try to help you as best I can.
Yep, I appreciate that, and I want to leave this interview on a high note. Of course, that to piggyback off what you said a minute ago, if you surround yourself, right, with influential people, positive people, supportive people, and, you know, we all know there's some good people and things for other people we shouldn't hang around with. But again, if your circle, if your network, your circle is solid, chances are you will succeed.
That is true. And that goes for any field, not just in broadcast television, but in any field. You know, surrounding yourself with people that are uplifting and help you and can learn from you, and you can learn from them, I think is paramount to being successful in any field that you're in.
Yep. All right, Greg. Well, listen, I'll let you go, but I greatly appreciate it, probably more than you know. And
it's great to see you, man.
You too. And hopefully we can connect in the future. All right.
I sure hope so. Have a great new year.
You too, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.